Okay. Um, as happens with most schools, when you're trying to work out a plan at the beginning of the year, the first thing that you start to look for is your test data. What is my test data telling me? What does the map say? Now K-Prep is out. I'm working on this theory of action for Pedal ACT. Where do we want to start? And in the beginning, the discussion really pushed towards feedback. Feedback from me to my staff, feedback from staff to students. And we actually had an initial plan completely written. But then we realized that it could be incorporated into a larger goal that could have a greater impact, that everyone would be prepared for the next level of learning. Within our school, we have so many initiatives that are going on, even within the community, even community people in our building and our teachers and our parents. Like, we don't even know all of the things and how they can really interrelate for us to come together better. So we identified no clear focus. A long time ago, our superintendent had put together 10 things that kind of went along with our mission statement. And so at a staff meeting, I just asked, can any of you tell me those? And we've had them for years, and they couldn't. And so I said, well, this is where we're going to start. We didn't have a set school goal. So our first step was to make what our school goal is. And ours is just that everyone will be prepared for the next level of learning. And we say it as everyone because it incorporates more than just the students, the staff, the teachers, the administration. We are all coming together. We all understand that we can't ever stop learning. We just have to keep building on top of what we have. So I began with making non-negotiables for my staff. A long time ago, when Paul Green was my principal, and I was a teacher, and Jennifer Carroll was there as well. There were some things that he would preach to us at every staff meeting, and the first one was bell-to-bell instruction. Well, of course, I can't say bell-to-bell instruction because we don't have bells, but I called it no wasted instructional time. And as you can see on these levers, there are some things that cover more than just one group. So no wasted instructional time. That's going to involve the administrators at central office, making sure that we aren't always sending people out of the building and bringing in other things on top of what needs to be going on in the classroom. Me in the principal's office, I need to make sure that we aren't constantly making announcements. We aren't pulling people out all the time. And for teachers themselves, making sure that the instruction starts as soon as the kid walks into the room and we follow it all the way through. That's something that should just be something that you do naturally, but knowing that it's on the list and it's a non-negotiable and that when I walk through that is what I expect to see, it gives them that extra level. I can statements that are posted and used during instruction. Another thing that almost everybody does. But when we put up an I can statement, when I come through in that 15 minutes, I should see you at some point come back around to, and this is why this is up here. This is what we're doing. Or how does this relate to our I can statement? Bringing it back around. That's something that I expect to see. Students becoming part of the educational process, taking effort into understanding things. Our assessments for learning are used to drive instruction. Back in the inputs, existing resources, you can see cadres and PLCs. We talk about feedback in that all the time. We have gone through a lot of training and conferences about feedback, but do we really use it to the best of our ability? So making sure that we are tracking students, we are using data walls, we are taking our MyOn, our MobiMax, our front row, and we are using it where the kids really need it. What are those basic standards, those foundational things that we know that the kids need to know that all of those assessments are telling us they don't have, because we can't build if they don't have the basics. And then modeling proficient work. We didn't say distinguished. We said proficient. We know that even within our Success for All reading program, kids can do 2-minute edit. It's already up there. All they have to do is fix everything that's wrong. But then do we turn around and apply that within the classroom? I know you can edit a sentence somebody else wrote wrong. Can you write your own sentence? Can somebody else edit that sentence? Just simple things like that. This is what my open response question is. Here's an example of how I would have answered it. Do you think you can find anything wrong with it? Is there anything you can add to it? How can we make this distinguished? Just making those small changes, I feel like will take us where we need to be. So our long-term goal is that everybody's ready for the next level of learning. Obviously, we're going to keep on with the cadres and the PLCs that we already do. The funding that comes along with this will bring in more micro-credentialing, which our teachers are already involved in. We use Bloomboard for that. The Pedal ACT team is already involved in micro-credentialing for theory of action using this plan that we have in front of us. And so we are just looking forward to taking our school to the next level, because we know where we want to go and we know where we know our students can go. We just have to get them there. Any questions? I talked really fast. Okay, thanks. I'll go ahead. Okay, well, we have Flex PD. I'm sure a lot of you have that written in. Last year, by the time we implemented micro-credentials, everybody had all their PD hours in, and so we had a program where if you completed a micro-credential through Bloomboard, you would get a $150 stipend. So the goal was that we would have 30 people complete by the end of the year. We didn't actually really get into it until October-ish. We had 29 people that completed, so we were just shy. This year, with your Flex PD, you can micro-credential. You can earn a micro-credential. It counts for 3 hours of PD, so you actually get your PD credit. And then you can still get, this year only, we don't know about next year's funding, but another $150 stipend. On the average, it takes teachers 6 to 7 hours of work to really earn a micro-credential. A lot of those you have to learn about it, implement it in your classroom, submit student work, and then you have to reflect. So that does take a little bit of time, but it's much more personalized. It focuses specifically on whatever the teacher feels that they need to grow on. We can relate it back to whatever their growth plan is. Like this theory of action relates to my growth plan, which was communication. So, anything else? Micro-credentialing is awesome. Bye.